Hi everybody, it's Raphael back here from Ohio Tropics, and today in this short video I wanted to talk to you guys about how do you know if your moth orchid or Phalaenopsis is growing a root versus a flower stalk. So when I started growing Phalaenopsis orchids, oh gosh, I've probably been growing them for 20 years now, or over 20 years actually, hard to believe. But I started, getting very excited over every little growth that I saw on my plant. I thought it was, oh, that's a flower stalk, okay? And most of the time, unfortunately, it was just a root, okay? Until I got used to what the flower stalks actually looks like, so I can tell the difference between a root and a flower stalk. So I wanted to teach you guys that, okay? This is a flower stalk, okay? But it's already pretty big. This is one that I've had growing outside. So this is easy to see that it's a flower stalk, but I'm saying, how do you know when it starts to grow? Okay, when it's a little itsy bitsy tiny thing, if it's a root or if it's a flower stalk, okay? So what I'm going to do is just talk through a little bit now, and then I'll show you some some photos that I took of some of my orchids that have started to grow flower stalks, which are now a lot bigger, but I took pictures in the initial stage so you can see what they look like. And I also have a blog post below that you can read on that topic as well if you want to refresh yourself. Okay, so basically there's a couple things that you need to keep in mind. Number one is the blooming season for Phalaenopsis. So obviously it's not going to be all the same. So I always tell people that plants are like people, they're individuals like people are. And it's hard to tell, the parentage of whatever hybrid you have. There are Phalaenopsis that bloom in different seasons, but in general, a lot of them will tend to set spike in late fall, early winter, around there, okay? So you might want to look around in that time of year. However, they have a mind of their own, and actually this summer I put quite a few outside, and all of them bloomed. And these were plants that normally bloomed in the middle of the winter for me, so you never know. So keep an eye on them, okay? As far as telling the difference, let me give you a quick tip, and then you guys can visually see on my plants what the different flower spikes can look like. The main difference really is when you look at a new growth coming out from the base of your Phalaenopsis plant to tell if it's a root or flower spike. The flower spikes, I tell people, will look a little bit like a mitten, okay? Those of you in cold climates like myself that, well, I wear gloves, I don't wear mittens, but if you do wear mittens, I'm sure everyone knows what a mitten looks like, but they tend to have that look, okay? So kind of almost with a little, there's normally a couple points on them. It's not just a uniformly round growth like a root would give you, okay, nice and round. The flower spike will give you almost two little points. Sometimes one of the points is roundy, but it tends to look a little bit like a mitten. And if you look at the base of when the flower spike starts to grow, it almost looks like it has a little sheath or covering or a little bump towards the bottom as well. It's not completely uniform like a root will be, okay? So think of a mitten shape as a trigger to tell you, oh, this might be your flower spike growing, okay? So let me, to end this video, I'd like to just show you guys a few pictures so you can visually see what it looks like. You might see them in different colors as well, so keep that in mind. So some of them will be like a lime green, some of them will be more of a reddish color or even a burgundy color, so depending on the hybrid that you have, they can look a little bit different. So that wraps up this video. Take a look at the pictures that follow, and make sure that you subscribe to my Ohio Tropics YouTube page, like this post, comment on this post, and also if you're not following me on Instagram, I do post a lot out there at Ohio Tropics, one word, on Instagram. So thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll talk to you next time.